Hey everybody, this is KWK Podcast where stories are told. First thing first, if you're not already following us, you can do so on all social media platforms at KWK Podcast. We have several episodes dropping very soon and we'd appreciate everyone's support. We have a special episode with Patrick Lumumba so that he can clear the air on some things, and we're going to take you to him now.
Power and peace, everybody. It's Brother Patrick Lumumba. I'm here with KWK Podcast because we're here to clear some things up. I've been shadow banned on my social media platforms, so all the information about the Corn Wiley, Justice for Corn Wiley situation, we want to be here to clear things up. So that's where we at. You're about to hear a full, detailed background, history, description up until the now as to where we're at with the Justice for Corn Wiley situation. June 14th, 2026 was a day that I feel like became a pivotal point in not only my life, but in the causation of, everybody's life in Tate County, Pinole County, and basically black people's lives. I was asked by my daughter at about 1:30 that day, which was a Sunday. My daughter, True Essence, all y'all know her. She wanted a whatchamacallit candy bar. So I told her I'd take her to the Dollar Tree to get a whatchamacallit candy bar. So in going to the Dollar Tree, we couldn't find the whatchamacallit. And this small town, Senatobia, Mississippi, so everybody know everybody. So True asked me, she said, Dad, why don't we go to Walmart? We can just go to Walmart and get the whatchamacallit. And when she said go to Walmart, a lady there, she said, Pat, I don't think y'all want to go to Walmart today, right now, because they just said a woman and possibly a baby just got shot by the police. And I was like, really? She's like, yeah, I don't think y'all want to go. But see, my spirit, I don't run from fights, I run to them. So I immediately loaded my daughter in the car, strapped her down. We rolled right up to the Walmart parking lot. Lo and behold, police were everywhere. And I pulled up and saw a young man standing outside. It was a Walmart employee. I beckoned to him and I told him, come here. He came to the window. I said, what happened? He said, somebody just got shot. I said, for what? Well, they say they were shoplifting. I said, shoplifting? Shot? That don't equate. Like, what do you mean? He was like, yeah, I know. I said, shoplifting and shot? He said, yeah, and I think a baby got shot as well. So I looked at him, I said, what do you think about that? He said, I don't think that's right. I said, what's not right? He said, nobody should be shot or killed for stealing. I said, okay. So I just pulled down on the parking lot and I immediately started making a post. And my post said, attention, trigger happy Senatobia police officers just shot a woman and a child for alleged shoplifting. And I sat there for a minute and my daughter looked over and asked me, she said, Dad, she said, did the police just shoot a baby? I said, yeah, true. I think the police just shot a baby. She said, Dad, that's not right. I said, I know. So that was the beginning of this whole episode for me. And I often think back that if my daughter had asked for a Snicker bar or Baby Ruth or any other candy bar that they would have had, how would these circumstances have changed? I knew I would be involved, but I was actually on the scene 10 minutes after it happened. And after that point, my phone started ringing. The post that I made started basically going viral. And one of the young ladies that was some kin to this lady, she messaged me. She said, Pat, the post you just made, the whole family is over here at the hospital. Can you get over here immediately? So I'm saying all that to say that I think by divine order, by divine synchronicity, the universe will have it, or whatever y'all would call it, God will have it, that my number was called to basically lead because this is my hometown, Senatobia, Mississippi. And we've been dealing with the historic racism that exists here, and the proliferation of that racism that has increased with this new political regime and this out of control police department in this city. So we've been dealing with that, and it had basically come to this point, which I think is the worst possible point that it could come to. That same systemic racism that we've been dealing with for the last 5 years has finally done what we told them it was going to do, but we just didn't know that it was going to take the life of a 1-year-old baby Corn. How did I get introduced to the mother and the father? Well, I never was formally introduced to the mother and the father. And actually, I didn't have to be. I knew, and I've been fighting and warring with the system that actually killed the mother and the father's child. So I inherently inherit this role. I was already in this role. Other grassroots organizers began to organize with the family, but I was already organizing against the systemic racism that actually took baby Corn's life. So there's a lot of misconceptions out there. You know, I never really had much contact with the parents. I have had interaction with them. I have hugged them. I have talked to them on some personal level, but I don't have the intimate relationship that I would like to have with Valencia, with Davion, to help cultivate their minds and make them understand what it is that they're dealing with right now, and the systemic racism that we've been dealing with as a community here in Tate County, and the beast that claimed the life of young baby Corn. So hopefully that those relationships with me and the parents of Corn will congeal more, and we will have a more cohesive relationship moving forward, because we just at the first quarter of this whole ordeal. You know, all the marching, all the protesting, all the sign toting. That's just the first quarter of establishing and extracting justice from this system. That's the first quarter. We still have legal, political, economic aspects that we have to deal with. And that's what we'll be doing going forward. So the relationship with Valencia, the relationship with Davion in regards to the death, the killing, the murder of baby Corn, going forward, we will be a more cohesive group, because we will extract justice for young baby Corn, but not only for young baby Corn, but for the humanity of our people overall. About what was I gonna post to make the people of the community see clearly what had just taken place right in front of our eyes. And so my mind told me, because I had been informed that the alderman of the 4th Ward, Chris McConnell, had made a post on what had happened. He was trying to be transparent. And so I went to his page and I saw that he literally did not make a post himself. But what he did, he posted the official police report that Senatobia Police Department had released. And what the official police report said, and I was laying there, this is Monday morning, the official police report read that we received a shoplifting call from the Senatobia Walmart. Upon arriving on the premises, we saw a woman and a child fleeing to the car. Now, I don't know if they were fleeing or not. I know this is what they said. But I also know they said they saw a woman and a child fleeing to a car. And my spirit convicted me right there. And that's what I wanted to clearly point out in my post that Monday morning, was that the Senatobia Police Department responding to a shoplifting call clearly stated that they saw a woman and a child fleeing to a car. Now, I've been in Senatobia all my life. And the running joke of embarrassment for shoplifting, if you were caught in Walmart, the running joke was, don't get your ass walked out of Walmart in handcuffs. That was it. That was the running joke. That was the worst punishment, other than going to court and being fined or whatever behind that. Don't get your ass walked out of Walmart in handcuffs, because that was the punishment. Never is the punishment for shoplifting death. Floyd, we wanted and had a list of demands for the city council. A lot of things we want to know. Why was there even a gun pulled to cause Cohen's death? We also wanted the officer immediately terminated from his job. And that's where we met a lot of resistance with our city council. And asking that this man be terminated, we had confusion on the board. We have 2 black aldermen that we felt culturally identified with the problem. So we petitioned those 2 black aldermen to make a motion to terminate Hunter Foster. And we petitioned the other one to second that motion. If we could get that accomplished, then the board is left to vote on it. So there's a lot of confusion there, because we were able to get one of our aldermen to not move to terminate Hunter Foster, but to move to suspend him without pay. That motion was made eventually after basically instructing and guiding. We even had one of the elders, Mr. J.A. Jackson, get up in the city hall meeting and actually tell these 2 aldermen what they needed to do. But the 3 white aldermen never responded. They never acted in their capacity. They never acted with the power endowed in them as aldermen to make a moral decision to do either or. We were asking for 1 alderman to go along with the 2 black aldermen to basically suspend Hunter Foster without pay. It never happened. It never happened. Neither of the white aldermen ever responded. They were basically coached by the city attorney not to do so. He said amidst MBI investigation. But we know better. They could have made the decision then. They made the decision without the MBI to hire these deranged officers. They could have made the decision that night to fire Hunter Foster or to suspend Hunter Foster without pay. The reason why this is important is because the black community has suffered political neglect in this community for so long. The political neglect in this community has bubbled over, and it brought us to this point. So these people operate on code, and we got to break that code if black people are to get any justice, especially in this situation where they have killed our baby. Then we're going to have to break that code. So what eventually happened, they went into an executive session. We left, they went into an executive session. And they, later on that night, I ended up getting a text message that said that they suspended Hunter Foster, but they suspended him with pay. So that basically amount to what, a vacation? He's suspended with pay. So why is Patrick leading this? Well, it's most definitely not for money. Nobody ever gave me, my organization, any money. We're not out here for money. We out here for justice. So I'm leading this charge because the circumstances necessitated that I lead this charge. This fight fell in my lap a long time ago. I've been fighting for black people and our humanity for 30 years. So I ain't new. I think the best way that I can explain this is from a conversation with my son on Father's Day. He called me, he said, "Dad, you all right?" I said, "Son, I'm good." I said, "How you?" He said, "I'm good." He said, "You know, Dad, all this circulating around you, it's really frustrating to me." I was like, "Frustrating to you?" He said, "Yeah, it's frustrating to me." I said, "What's frustrating to you about it, son?" He said, "You know, I got people coming up to me, your dad's so strong. I'm so glad, you know, we got your dad, and man, your dad really shining. It's his time. And he just said, Daddy, act like you ain't been doing this the whole time. He said, they act like you ain't been doing this the whole time. So for everybody that, Patrick Lumumba, Patrick Alexander, whatever you want to call me, I'm not here for no clout. I'm here because I'm tired. I'm here because black people are tired. I'm here because the system of racism, white supremacy has proliferated to a point where even black people have normalized our own oppression. And it's time that it stopped. So I'm here because I gotta be, and I'm gonna be. And we're gonna get justice. Not just for baby corn, but justice for black people, period. So, with the continued fight, the continued effort for justice for corn, and basically the fight against the system of racism and white supremacy that is so apparent in Senatobia. It's not like it's even hiding. It's in plain sight. So we here now. It's things that got to be done, the marching, the protesting, the signs, and all of that, the rioting or whatever it is. That's just the first quarter of extracting justice from this system. It's not going to be a situation where this just go away. It only goes away if we go away. And I had a great teacher by the name of Dr. Laverne Murphy. And he told me this. He said, Patrick, you watch a protest. You watch a protest. He said, if a protest lasts for more than 4 days, he said, some serious people behind that protest. And not only you are watching that protest, but the oppressor is watching that protest as well. And they know that if that protest lasts for more than 4 days, there's some serious people behind that protest. So saying that to say, we just entered the second quarter of this fight. This is a war. It's a protracted struggle. It's momentum shifts, just like a sporting event. Back and forth. So we have the second quarter, halftime. This thing might even go into double overtime. So we need the black community to stay engaged. So to create that momentum and create movement going forward, we have to do some logistical things like create what we have created, our organization, SCAT. It's an acronym that means Senatobia Committee for Accountability and Transparency. And we ought to go back before the board Tuesday to intensify this fight. We got to have accountability. We got to have transparency. And we got to have justice. So Tuesday, July the 7th, I'm asking everybody to meet us at City Hall, Senatobia, the same way we did a few weeks ago, to confront our city officials, to get justice, to hold them accountable, so that they can be transparent to the people that they serve, are supposed to serve. On July the 7th, 5 o'clock, Tuesday, we're asking you to come and support SCAT and other organizations that's fighting on behalf of justice for corn. So we'll be at the courthouse, the City Hall, July the 7th. That's Tuesday at 5 o'clock. We're asking everybody to come out and support.